You're listening to Radio Cosmos. Time to join
Joe Cool and JJ Organics.
lucky winner of the Gemini Croquette Contest. Coming at you live from Floston.
Joe Cool, who I see in many different live streams. Joe Cool is a cool dude to have on all the live streams. This dude is there.
So this is your...
I honestly just did a quick look at this, but what I got for you guys is we can do this together.
Yeah.
And if you want to, I just was looking it up, and it's funny because this tracks back to the Dutch. And I have really, that's what I'm doing with the natives now, going back to very important stuff going on here with the natives and the Holland Land Company, because they purchased the Western Dorp that I always speak of, right? Now you say, why is that important? Because they sold it off as soon as they got it. They couldn't keep it. A bunch of barons just doing grabbler tactics, we call it, banking moves. It's important because the Iroquois Aboriginal title is relinquished in the Phelps Gorham Purchase, which was a syndicate of Dutch investors. Okay, so that's why when I was reading about the Bach Tower, I'm like, immediately, I'm just like, oh, this guy was Dutch who built it. And I just did a real cursory research. The place is awesome. I know Longo did some stuff on this, and the coquina is really interesting. I mean, that stuff's out of sight as far as how interesting it is. But yeah, I'm just looking it up. There's that connection with Mr. Bach, who made it. And then it says right here when I'm reading in the Wikipedia, right, it says he wrote a short book, right? And that piques my attention because I got, let's go check out archive.org and see if they actually have that. And guess what they do? Now, I would highly recommend, if you guys don't have a subscription here, get one, because I have the ability to borrow this book for an hour and we can go over it right now. Wow. And it's 43 pages, so it's not like 100 pages. And it's about the let's read what it says.
No,
Edward, do you want to do that?
Yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say they sell books in their gift shop.
Super cool. I didn't even look at this thing yet. I mean, I haven't even laid eyes on this. Once I hit this button, we got 1 hour. But it does say.
It does say. Okay.
Yep. So it does say that Edward Bach wrote a short book about the tower's planning and construction. So I would think that it'd be something that's interesting.
This would be very interesting because what we are going to show you will actually probably tie into all of this. So absolutely.
We have the ability I can hit borrow right now, and you can only do this if you have a subscription at archive.org. Now, I'd recommend doing that if you're interested in the research, because
archive.org. All right.
Yeah, and so you let me know. Yeah, I was looking it up. I seen your guys' videos on it. And then it says it's got the Tree of Life in the middle of it on the first floor. Let's see.
We're not allowed to go inside.
The floor plan. There's this one video you can. There's
videos and pictures, but once the pandemic situation happened, like I don't think they haven't opened the doors to go inside, and inside has more information.
Yeah, it's interesting. You got floor, the lady said when they took a news crew through here, said the floor pattern has the tree of life in the middle of it, and I was looking up. That's very significant. And then the water cisterns, it was an old world water tower for the village, right? They said, but there's probably some landscape gravy, which is why I was looking up on Google Earth, of course.
Because this is on a hill.
Yes, the hill looks interesting against that landscape, though. I was just going to say that.
Because they talk about it in the description, but even for Florida, to say it's on a hill, I'm from Michigan, a hill. Well, actually, they call it a mountain. It's Iron Mountain. But to me, it's a hill. In Michigan, we have hills that are 1,100 feet. This hill is just under 300 feet.
Is that how high that is?
That is 295 or 298. I hear two different.
Bot Tower, yeah. It's right around 300 feet in elevation.
Where that shadow line is on the slope side. For like Google Earth panning and scanning, whatever. So that's actually a slope side. But when you're up there in front of it, you're up high compared to like Florida being relatively like flat, mostly flat land.
They did show that they did show a view of it on one of these videos where the lady goes in from the local news. There you go, WKMG. That's probably News 6. That's a local news.
Even when I watch my own footage of standing there and looking out at the orange groves, you still can't grasp being up, almost 300 feet, even in Florida. It's like spectacular to say, because you can see as far as the eye can see. It's flat.
I can imagine. Yeah, all flat. I mean, Florida's the flattest state, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, it really is. And according to the Bach Tower site, it's resting on the crest of Iron Mountain, the highest point in the peninsular Florida, which is 298 feet above sea level.
Gravy.
Which is actually not the highest point, as I've stumbled on some information.
Yeah, we'll get to that after this.
So should I?
It's gravy day. It's
ready.
Let's dive into
Let's
that
do
book.
it.
This is pretty cool. I always like doing this at archive.org is like hitting the barrel. And this is what I also suggest is having this handy, the snipping tool, because here's the deal. We'll do this on the fly. Because like I said, I haven't looked at this yet. And if there's any cool pictures, I'll snap them and it'll be gone after an hour, but I'll still have the pictures, right? And then I'll send them to you.
Yeah, I call them.
Oh, okay. That's ours. Ours is called Light Shot.
Okay.
But basically, it just grabs the screen or whatever, and
okay. Well, let's do it. Ready?
Recording it right now. That helps.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Boom.
I think I'm a little excited.
So we'll. You know what? I'm going to close some of these windows, and I'm going to close my Earth. Go figure. We're live right now, and it's taking a minute. There we go. I explained Holland Land Company. See how the countdown happens? I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm not on. I got my Ethernet cable all set up. Okay, so here we go. Now we got ends at 10:24. Now we have access to the whole book. Digitized by the Internet Archive in 2022. The place is beautiful. It's got the reflection pool.
The front door. If you go back to the page, you can't see it because the bush is in the way, but that faces north, so the sun is rising in the east, right in that picture. This one right here. And his grave site is in the shiny part in the grass.
Okay, I found that a little awkward that he's buried right there, but I guess.
Facing north, and then the door behind the bush.
Right here?
Yep, and this faces north.
There probably might be a better picture of it. Got a grove, of course.
But when I got there, pretty much when the sun was coming up, it opens at like 8, that you can walk around. So it was the prettiest time to see with the sun rising.
I can imagine it's beautiful, especially when you're on top of it. Again, they did show. Can you like the flatland? They did show in that video. It
Do
does.
you
I'm
want to
sure
screen
it's
share
probably.
without us on it? We're still blocking some of it, babe.
What's up? Oh, you're saying us on the bottom. I got you.
Yeah, because even if we're on the side, we squish it, and then we're on the bottom. There we go. See, that's a pretty drawing. Look at how there's. I know it's a drawing, so it's a depiction. You can
Very
draw
cool.
whatever landscaping you
Well,
want around it, but it's so bare.
I'm gonna make a folder and I'll share these with you.
Because
Folder.
it's. I have a magnet from the thrift shop, the gift shop, where it shows how bare the land is around it.
How flat it is.
How bare, it's a garden. It's almost like a botanical garden. It's a sanctuary, they say, but there's
Okay.
nothing around it. And one of the magnets, it's a black and white picture.
This is what I do, guys. When I
Yep.
borrow a book, I know I only got an hour. I'll just hammer on it.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it.
I use OpenShot. I'm not sure what you use, Joe Cool, but it's pretty basic for me, but it's cool. So 1989, we'll get the copyright for sure. You guys, you're good at it though. You guys make those quick, cool videos. I got to get better at it. I really like how you guys do yours.
That's Joe Cool. And he sits there learning the program for a few days, hours at a time. Yeah, he's got that brain skill for it. I'm sitting there going, I'm ready to throw this thing out the window.
There it is. Okay, so Tree of Life. It's right there.
Here we go.
Yep.
Temptation Repose panel from the Great Brass Door. Yep, I heard about that. Of the tower, designed and executed by master metalworker Samuel Yellen.
Yep. It's really tiny. But yeah, there's a part of it that most of it does look, what was it, bronze?
I guess I won't take pic. I think the whole door.
There's a part of it that looks gold because it's extra shiny.
I wonder, JJ.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out if it's bronze or
So what do you think? I'm just gonna take screenshots of the cool pictures, and I'm not gonna take every single one. But there's not a lot of we can flip back through here. Let's go through, and there's not that many pages. We're almost halfway through it.
We'll do what I did in grade school. I'm gonna look at all the pictures first.
Right, like my daughter.
And then, well, that's how I read books. I read them backwards.
America's Taj Mahal.
Yeah, that's what it's in the brochure. I guess they call it. I'm like,
I
didn't even grow up knowing what a Taj Mahal was.
Another connection back to Buffalo is Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed all of our parkways in Buffalo, and he's incorporated here because he seemingly did the landscape. He was a landscape architect on Sand Hill.
They have a small museum there, and he's got a wall of information about him and the places that he has apparently.
Oh, there we go. That's a cool one.
That's facing south. That's got the sundial on it.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, the south of the Singing Tower with the sundial. Very cool. The ashlar is coquina rock, a salmon pink coral formation. Georgia marble is used for the base, buttresses, and top with gray Creole.
It's happiness.
At base, and shell pink Etowah above. Etowah sounds almost like native. That's a cool one. I'll take a picture of that one.
The base of this, the pictures don't do it justice to say how wide it is.
Yeah, it's got bulk to it.
Yeah, but not even that. I like what it reads right here. Another question often asked.
Oh, sorry.
Is what is a carillon? The word carillon is really a misnomer, being the French equivalent for chimes, whereas what we know today as a carillon has absolutely no resemblance to a set of chimes. An exact definition of the term demands too many details of the technique of tower music. Perhaps it is enough to say that a carillon is a set of bells tuned to the intervals of the chromatic scale, and the lowest bell being often many tons, so that in the highest octaves the weight of each bell is but a few pounds, and all the bells hang dead or fixed. That is, so as not to swing. And many people confuse a carillon and a chime, whereas a chime, ring, or peal is a set of bells, not more than 8, 10, or 12 in number, tuned to the notes of the diatonic scale. That is crazy.
Very cool, dude. And you can
Details of
see
that.
this guy. You could see this guy playing in this in that news one. The guy who actually runs it and plays
Yeah.
that carillon in that news feed. It's amazing.
He's been there 12 years, and he plans on being there his whole life
Nice, JJ.
because of the uniqueness of this tower bell. He started playing when he was like,
Oh, there we go.
well, he was traveling with his dad when he was like 4, so he was playing pretty much right away. So there's a
Look at-
moat around it.
Yeah, you see it? Can you see this, guys?
Oh yeah.
Look at that. You can kind of get a sense of the of
So
how
the part,
massive
the
little
part
it-
that looks extra shiny on the door is where that tree is, like the carving of the tree. Two
On the left,
squares.
on the left, yeah, 2 squares down
We
on the
got
left
good-
side.
zoom in capability. Even though
Oh,
unfortunately it's black and white, but yeah,
Yeah.
Archive does do good.
The second
in.
square above the door handle. When I'm
Yeah, the
standing
ring.
there, because the sun
The
will
ring.
never hit the door because
Okay.
it faces north, and when the sun's in the northern hemisphere, top of it, but it doesn't get just far enough north to hit it. Like, and how it's built in, because the
And
door
you know,
is
it
set
makes you
into it.
wonder if that wasn't done on purpose, is to not have the sun hit the door. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like a metallic paint on a vehicle. If it hits it right, the sun, it'll give that fluctuation, of different colors. So yeah, I wonder why that might be part of the reason why they're like, hey, it's gold. No, it's brass. No, it's
Postcard.
this.
I'm sure it's definitely done for a reason, regardless of whatever the intention may be. If it's something that can be seen, I think of it in terms of movies. Maybe I shouldn't make that parallel here, but if you see it and deduce it, it might be meant to be seen and deduced.
Yeah.
But-
The most interesting standout piece was the sundial, because it's not just there's a design to it, and all the
Is that it right there, JJ?
That's the sundial, yeah.
Oh, cool! It looks almost serpentine.
It's a serpent. Yes.
Of
Well,
course
it's
it is.
actually has a serpent holding
Yeah,
it.
I
That's a
have-
snake.
Well, the postcard doesn't show it very well, but the postcard,
So is this jutting out
yes.
perpendicular, or at least from the face itself? And so then the snake then is also jutting out, holding it up, apparently.
Yeah.
Also structurally. Whoa.
There's a calendar on the
Sun.
bottom. The
There's a sun.
zodiac signs are on the frame around the serpent.
Okay.
There's an inscription with
Bruh.
it's like coordinates. I'm trying to remember. Even when I look at so there's a lot of detail going on.
Oh my goodness. So it doesn't come through in the Google Earth, that's for sure.
No, it doesn't. But there's probably a good picture, hopefully, in this book.
Yeah, let's see. We're getting there.
But I like the black and white or grayscale because it picks up other details.
Oh, cool. Okay, good.
dramatics.
Okay, inside.
The inside. Oh, heck
See,
yeah.
that's why it's cool to have these
Side.
subscriptions.
The window on the left, there's two windows that face on the first floor that face east and west.
Oh, pardon me.
Can we read that on the bottom?
Wow, that fire.
Yeah, can you? Yeah, I'm gonna read it right now. Actually, I want to make sure. See, that's where that tree of life is. Okay, the
Yeah.
room at the base of the tower is walled in the same coquina ashlar and marble as the exterior, lighted chiefly by two pierced marble grills, one of which is shown above. These grills are cut from solid blocks of white Georgia marble, 6 inches thick at the maximum and thin enough on many edges to be translucent. What? That's
What?
unbelievably high craftsmanship.
Whoa.
And then, so let's read the other one right quick as well, on the right.
Ooh, the mantle.
Yeah, is that like a fireplace? Okay, the mantle in the room at the base of the tower is of pink Georgia marble. Note, Mr. Lowry's sculptural piece over the mantle and above the quotation which prompted Mr. Bach's gift to the American people, quote, make your world a bit better or more beautiful because you have lived in it, unquote. That's cool.
Yeah, the quote,
Nice.
there's two main quotes about like caring for nature and taking care of it and leaving a positive nature like mark on everything, but I don't know where the chimney is.
Well, this just looks, I guess I say that this just looks like a chimney because it's got the above hood, if you will, and then the opening, and it looks like
This
there's
would have to be when you walk in the front door straight across.
that must be one of them free energy Tartarian chimneys.
Yeah, but oh no, I'm just thinking of the exterior
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
to the top. You can't tell that there would be
Oh, from the outside.
fire-
There'd be
yeah,
like
a
an open shaft
fireplace.
outside.
I see what you're saying, JJ. You can't see it from the outside like a chimney. Like you
Yeah.
okay, that's
I'm
a good
looking
point.
at my postcards. Even.
Okay. I
And
wonder
I'm
if there's a slot. It's like slotted in. That would be really interestingly unique. There's an opening and it's like slotted in, almost like a quick parallel I could think of, like how the angled holes are in the pyramids through the block. I wonder if that's a feature.
Well, you'll see more pieces as to like this is not a chimney with smoke
Oh, wow.
coming alone are going to be like inconsistent construction. This is the eagles and the herons. I don't think that's the very top. That's the very top. Yeah, okay. So go ahead and read the description. My eyes aren't. Oh, it's like really
All
small.
good. Mr. Lowry's model of the top showing the pierced parapet with cock and hen herons alternating in the 8 finials. These finials are 14 feet in height, wow, and
Yeah.
are carved from solid blocks of Georgia marble. Oh my goodness.
So they have a
Oh.
replica of the female in the museum. It's tall. It's
Okay.
big.
Man, you
And-
can't even 14 feet high.
14 feet in
Yeah.
height.
They're at the
Yeah.
very top.
These things.
They're at the very top. Let me show that again. It was working. They're at the very top of the tower, but the eagles are, I think, placed around right underneath where the exterior. It's not working. Exteriorness of the top where the chimes are. I'm gonna call them chimes. But yeah, the details, they're simple but dramatic, and
It's Art Deco. It's like stark, maybe a little.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Art Deco. I think because of the colorations are so more pastel. Because there's a couple buildings in Detroit that are very Art Deco that stand out. There's something different about this,
Yeah, this is different.
but I think it's softer lines that don't make it so much Art Deco, but I see what you're, because the pastel colors,
Hold up, guys.
all I
Hold
kept
up.
staring at.
Hold up, guys. I seen it referenced in here. Here we go. Gothic okay. The Gothic was built in the highest reflection pool, reflects full image. Octagon, 8 sides, built pink marble. Where did I see? Okay. Maderi assembled a team of top artisans in their fields. The Art Deco architectural sculpture was designed and executed by. So he is hearkening a little bit to Art Deco in this, because the only, and when I say that, like these things look like, it reminds me. I always think they harken back to movies. They look like in Batman 1 when they're scaling up that,
Yeah.
panning up that building. Like it's almost like very similar to how there's like sculptures on the outside of the building, right outside of oh man, what's his boss's name? When they're getting the task for the job. But yeah, it's very. That's what it reminded me of that, and that's like Art Deco-ish, ishy. There's a
Yeah,
little.
and check this out. I just found this. Etowah marble, also called Georgia pink marble, is a marble with a characteristic pink, salmon, or rose color that comes from quarries near Tate, Georgia. And Etowah marble is made up largely of calcium carbonate. And Etowah, Georgia pink is found in the United States. Well, yeah, it's Georgia, so that's
That is something to unpack, though, because what you said, though, JJ, it doesn't look necessarily Art Deco because of the colors. You think of Art Deco as stark gray, dark. So this is almost like a duality, if you will. It's got a reflection pool, and you know how we are with the duality in architectures and sacred geometry. I wonder if that's purposely done, because it's designed in an architectural form, but it's using more bright and pastel colors. So that's just something that came to mind. Like it's almost like a glaring
Yeah.
contradiction. It's a duality in of itself, a polarity. I wonder, because it doesn't come to mind right away to think of Art Deco with pastel colors. Right?
Yeah,
That's
because
interesting.
I've walked around some buildings and I'll get that Art Deco impression pretty quickly.
Yeah,
This
it's like
is
cold and
completely
stark.
different.
That's very interesting to think
Oh,
about.
I just found this too. It says that you want to be there at the morning light when sun breaks because the tower's pink Georgia marble shines vibrantly in the morning light.
Oh my goodness, I could imagine.
That's when I was there. Yeah,
That's
that
probably
pink.
beautiful.
It's not even like a girly pink. It is a. I want to even say the pastel, the pink, because it's a stone. It's a type of stone. We'll just say the way it goes with the gray of the other stone and the coquina, and even the tile windows, very top where the sound from the chimes come out. I mean,
Whoa.
a thing that's so well done. To say it's really, really pretty. And as I was walking up to it, it felt like something more grand was missing attached to it, or one of the other viewers said maybe underneath it.
Okay, that's where it comes into play, where it looks like that it's different than the surrounding area. And I always think,
Mhm.
okay, some people it automatically comes to mind mud flood. I get it. Okay, can we just say I get it? Okay, but there's certain things that are purposely buried also, guys, by these
Yeah,
robber barons that fade the terra just like a barber fades your hair. I said that before. I posted it on the community channel, like kind of tongue in cheek. What do barbers and robber barons have in common? One fades the terra, another fades your hair. Right? You can scroll down to my community tab. That's from a while ago.
yeah.
But I just made that
Pointing out
association tongue in
things.
cheek.
Yeah, pointing out things that are
Could be
different.
buried purposely.
Oh yeah,
Maybe you were getting the energy
Oh, hold on.
uh,
I
of
gotta.
the. Oh, sorry. Maybe you were
Oh,
getting the
you're
energy.
good. You're good. I just want to show this real quick. You see this?
Can you guys see what I'm seeing? Okay, I'm not looking at. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Wow, look at that. Okay, look at that.
This is what it looks like in the morning. Someone took a picture of this when you can see the sun just
Yeah, look
hitting
at
it.
that. So you don't look at that and say, "Oh, look at that Art Deco."
But you
no.
see the color. You see how it gives off that gold
bronzy,
Yeah, it's
bright
beautiful.
gold.
very polished.
Unbelievable
But
coloration.
if this is a professional like photo that somebody took, or this isn't mine, right? No, somebody professionally with those screens that they use to help even the light out when you're doing professional photography. That's putting more light onto the door that's not there when you're standing.
Oh, okay. So they put a little accent on it. I could see that.
Yeah.
You know, popping it out a little bit.
Yeah. The door, when you're standing there, the door stands out. But when I look at my own footage,
Look at
the
this.
door, I have to zoom in on it to make it seem like it stands out. It's not that shiny.
Now this is cool. Where do you guys know where? Let's. Well,
I
actually,
wonder if that's the piece above the mantle.
let's read. But this is. I want. There's. I noticed a lot of. Excuse me. Sunsplash reference. I mean, obviously, the sun has something to do. You can see beautiful
Yeah.
sunsets.
It's funny they put it in the north.
True that. And you got the Poseidon reference.
That's
here.
hilarious because it looks like the towers in Tampa. Not.
Funny you mentioned that because as I
funny.
was looking it up on Google Earth, it's like it does seem to be like right in center mass. Actually, if you exclude the Panhandle, it
Yeah.
almost does seem to be in center mass of the actual peninsula itself. I want.
Well, it's on we call it more Central Florida. Central Florida has apparently they call it a few different names, but they reference it as ancient beaches. If you go back millions of years, there's that story. But the Sand Ridge or Mid Ridge or Lake Wells Ridge, it's about 115 miles long. This is where this tower is built roughly in the very middle of the Sand Ridge. That's about 115 miles long.
Wow.
And this one is in Lake Wells, Florida. And even driving through the town, Lake Wells, there's a few buildings there that stood out. But one of them is abandoned and they're gutting it. I don't know if they're going to tear it down or renovate it, but I got some footage of it from the outside because it's got a fence around it that stood out like, well, we're going to call it a hotel because that's what they do with these buildings.
Hotel,
like,
motel.
Yeah, I was like, we were just driving to go see the Bach Tower, and I'm like, the whole town of Lake Wales had a similar feel to us, to me, anyways, when we were just driving through. But when we were walking around Ybor near Tampa, and Ybor, like Key West, has a very similar feel to New Orleans. Now, I've never been to New Orleans. I've seen a lot of footage. But I get that similar design, similar feel, similar energy going on. But when you get to the tower, that's not the same feeling.
Interesting, JJ.
But I will say one of the feelings I get walking around the tower is I didn't want to be there at night.
Okay.
For as beautiful as it is when the sun... Can you hear me when I'm buffering?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I think I just noticed. Is that supposed to be the Mississippi River?
Yeah,
I saw your
yeah.
dude go over there. That's not
Yep.
okay.
Pretty cool.
I caught that.
The mountains. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Want me
but
to read this one?
there was
Yeah,
a very,
go ahead.
Sorry, JJ. Go ahead.
I was just saying there was a very subtle feeling for some reason, as beautiful as it was. I kept getting the whole "you don't want to be here at night" feeling.
I could dig that. Definitely. Pick up on the certain vibes of the area. Some people have
Well,
that.
not too far from here. Was it like a 20-minute drive, babe? You took the kids to Spook Hill,
Oh yeah,
and that had a
was,
weird vibe for you.
From Bach Tower, it's probably like 5 minutes from Bach
Okay.
Tower. It's
not
right
that
around the
far.
corner.
Depending
yeah.
on topic.
Okay, here we go. This is cool. This is really cool.
Yeah,
it says,
I'll read this one. I got it.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, for sure.
Model of ornament high above the fireplace. This a sculptured map of Florida showing the Singing Tower, St. Augustine, and a few of the other older cities. An alligator, a galleon in the Gulf, a figure of the wind, and below, Neptune riding by on a seahorse.
So we can say also we could symbolize Poseidon.
If you
As well.
zoom in
I,
on
I
the
was thinking
bottom
Poseidon.
of
Yeah.
the tower,
They're analogs.
can you zoom in
fine.
on the bottom of the tower?
Yep. See how good this zooms in?
This is really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's why I like archive.org. There goes the heron, JJ, and then the
Yep.
See, they have that's supposed to be the front door, but the front door faces north.
interesting. Is
And
that
they
supposed
have-
to be the front door?
Yeah,
So the back doesn't look like that?
no, that's the sundial.
So this is like a stylized thing, a representation of like
Yeah,
its
everything
best
is
face. Yeah, its best
positioned
features.
very differently because the sun is in the very north, with the door now facing south.
Good call, JJ. That's very. I wonder if it's purposely done that stylized to just show its best side. You know.
Yeah. And this is above
Yeah.
and they even quoted it saying fireplace. And I'm like, where's the chimney?
This is cool. What? All right. What else do we got? We got
Yeah.
about 15 minutes left, something like that for the book.
Do we? It says it ends at 10:24. Yeah, a half hour.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
20.
But yeah, and we're better than halfway through. So,
Yeah, luckily it's
like JJ said, let's look for the. So now anybody who was listening can do this though, and they see a little trick with the snippet. If you got a snippet tool,
a snippy tool. A cut and paste. That's what we called it in the 90s.
right? Taking it back to the 90s, that nostalgia. I love it. Looks like we got any more pictures?
They should have a lot more pictures.
Well, yeah, as far as the construction goes, I thought it said that it had, I'm sure there's probably writing on it, but you want to see.
Yep. Show me some pictures.
That's what I got going on here with
'Cause
taking
there
it
there are pictures. This is a postcard.
back. Okay, here we go. Here's a layout of the grounds. That's pretty cool.
Is there a year on
We'll go
this?
full screen.
Let's see.
Boom.
Oh, yeah, there's a year on the copyright.
Well, I meant on the map they're showing right now.
Not sure. Don't
It
think
is-
so.
I think it said it at the bottom. Parking lot, picnic.
There you go. Yeah, 1989. Nice call, Jay. Good one.
So
Good.
this is very
89.
modern. This is very modern.
Yeah, I noticed that when it said, you could see restroom delineated.
hmm
It looks like almost like a theme park, right?
Yes, it
So,
has that feel to it.
Doesn't it? I wonder if some of these things are old works. That's one thing I was looking for on the cursory search of Google Earth, which is another thing that I do here in Buffalo. Is I looked for a radial pattern, and there wasn't necessarily a radial street pattern, but I did notice, like you say, lake. What's it called? Lake what? There's a lot of lakes around there, almost like real
Yes.
circular looking
The
lakes too.
city's called Lake Wells.
Yeah, that's like noticeable. There's a lot of lakes in this area. So old water tower, my mind immediately goes to what's going on, I think, here in Buffalo. All the
There's a lot of lakes in
Radios.
central Florida.
yeah, and then Longo shows that too.
Yeah, he
Nargo
gets
Longo.
into it. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a modern version. It pretty much looks the same.
I like the little style. I like the little icon down here.
It's like
Cool.
a silhouette icon. Is that what they call it? Like, because it's very simplified.
Yeah, pretty
It
cool.
looks more like a crown.
Interesting that yeah, like at the
Something
top.
from England.
You know what that looks like? That looks like
England.
the rook. That looks like the rook on a chess.
True
chess
story. It does exactly. It really
Yeah.
does.
I don't play chess, but that's what, yeah. Because Lake Wales is spelled the same way as Wales in England.
England.
WALES.
So that's it. There wasn't too much there. Actually, there goes your card. I got some books with
That's
library
very old
cards.
school.
All right, we got our old school.
Wow.
That's it. So that's how you
Stamp.
just share it for an hour, and then if you the pictures, I got a couple of them, but I thought that there was going to be a little bit more.
Yeah. I was thinking there would be more. I got
And then all I did was this, guys. Just
the inside
literally
of it was cool with the
searched it. That was it right here.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I got it bookmarked, so I can pull that up later for
Here, you want me to
other
you guys wanna-
research.
take the reins here?
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, JJ,
let
you
me-
can do JJ can do her share screen and show you what she spotted with her eye.
I took a picture of the magnet so you can see it better. That's black and white that they sell at the. I remember how to do this. They sell this in the gift store, gift shop. Does that turn out all right? Oops. Oh.
Yeah, I can see for sure. Yep.
I'm getting used to the new computer setup, and it's really annoying.
Nice.
So this is the big lake next to it.
For
And that
real.
one, let me see if my brochure says what lake it is.
Pull up.
Well, it's like one of the lakes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm pulling up my Google Earth again right now.
I can't quite remember if that one. I don't think that one is Lake Wales, but it could be.
It is Mountain Lake, probably.
So yeah, they said this is Iron Mountain. It's roughly 295 or 298 feet above sea level. Michigan also has an Iron Mountain. So I thought it was really funny that they called it Iron Mountain, thinking that in Michigan in Iron Mountain, it's in the Upper Peninsula. It's because they were mining out the iron. And Longo, I was saying most of the information I heard extra from what's not talked about in the brochure is there's I want to say magnetic energy or an energy here. And I'm sitting there going, when they name things, usually it's like after a mineral, it's because they were mining it out of the earth. Because Iron Mountain in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula.
That's a demonstrable case example. Yep. So yes, they definitely do that. So you wonder if there's something going on, iron work under the. It's certainly plausible, JJ. And then you think, well, it does look like it's the topography right around it. I know it's a hill, and I like I said earlier.
But even this side of to the lake, is the lake east of it?
The lake is the lake that you're looking at. Actually, let me see, because I have it up on Google Earth right now. Where did it go? That one, I believe, because it's a big one. That's actually to the west of it. So you're looking. That's facing west. Pretty much guaranteed. That's Mountain Lake. You're facing.
Oh, west. Yes. I flipped it in my own head, going, wait. So yeah, west of it. Even in this picture, this side is like it's steeper of a slope that grades down more. That doesn't look very steep in this photograph.
Guys, you know what I noticed too? I got to show you this. I got to share this screen when you get a chance. You just reminded me of something that I noticed.
Okay. But this was what I was talking about how bare it looks when it comes to how young the trees are around it, to be a garden, a sanctuary, to when it was built, when they say it was built in like 1929, I believe. And I just, certain pieces that stand out that just really don't add up. Because back in the day of how short and young all the trees are, like all of the trees are, compared to today.
Yeah, that would indicate possible.
You were like miles away.
Buried, and they terraformed it all.
Now with the trees higher, not buildings, but even the trees have grown so much higher, it's actually hard to see this tower from miles away. And it's because it's on a hill, it's like you should be able to see it. But the trees are significantly younger all around.
Do you guys have a LiDAR, New York or Florida State, like accessible website like we have in New York State? Like they LiDAR the whole state.
Oh, they
We-
did?
I don't.
I haven't
know.
heard. I thought LiDAR was only available in certain places, unless they're just starting to do that.
Well, maybe it's not LiDAR official, but they say it's like a hillshade map, so you could see a little bit underneath the ground. So yeah.
All right, go for it.
Okay, check this. This is like I literally was just looking this up like a half an hour. Entire screen. This one. I don't need to share audio. Okay, just at a cursory view, and that mountain that you referenced. You see how it's right here. So we were the tower's right there.
Yep. The lake.
Look at in the topography. I was looking around. First of all, what are all these fields anyway? But
Orange groves.
look at how it's almost like symmetrical on this side. What was going on here before?
Ah,
It almost looks like, can I say, like maybe like a dog bone shape with like this in the middle? Doesn't it almost look like there was something else going on here? Like it was like I literally just seen the symmetrical nature of the land, and I thought
Yeah,
it looked,
the land looks completely different.
well, yeah,
Right?
no,
The soil or
yeah, it looks a little bit more dry on this side. I wonder if it's because it was taken at a different time of the year, but just the symmetrical nature of like this dog bone shape. I have no idea what that would mean. It does look like almost like it could fold over on top of itself and be so.
wow.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
yeah.
It might be nothing. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Huh.
Could it be indicative of an
Oh.
old earthwork water thing? But it just looks like a dog bone shape almost.
Yeah, there's a lot of land manipulation.
And then so
Going on.
the view that you were just showing was like this, JJ. Looking at that lake
Mhm.
like that.
Yep, there it is.
And then you were referencing how sparse this looked. And then so what I would say, and then that's what I said, like it looks this part right here, the transition from the hill to the flat land, it looks it looks almost golf course-ish, where you think that it was shaped like that. I'm not saying that it was, okay? What's that hill from? Florida's flat. We know, and I've discussed with Philip Drusitin before, where I think a lot of what people are saying is mud flood is like they literally purposely buried stuff, like backfilled it, and they backfilled mud too,
Right.
made mountains to
Yeah.
cover up probably either old earthworks, waterworks, or native mounds. So I'm not saying I
Yeah.
know for sure that it was buried. I know some people will say, "Oh, that's indicative of mud flood," of course, but I'm saying, well, it also could be
Should I show
natural
them?
hill.
You
Could
ready?
be here.
Yeah.
I'll stop you.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead.
Could also be
Because-
purposely
because-
buried.
Because what you just said, this is really going to be interesting.
Okay.
We're gonna look at Florida. I just want to show Florida. I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna zoom in on the sand ridge. Oops, if it cooperates.
You can see that.
Can you
Okay.
see it?
Yeah.
This right here is the tower.
Okay.
This is a tower. This is a tower.
Nice. So they're in linear fashion on the sand ridge.
Yeah. So some people say it's about 100 to 115. You know, not too much of a difference for what they consider the sand ridge. But I was staring at a fun tourist depiction of Florida on a different angle, and there was a tower standing out. I'm like, that's not Clock Tower. What the hell is that? And it was from the 50s, and it says Placid Tower
Lake
or Lake
Placid
Placid Tower. And I was like, what? There's another tower? And I went looking for this tower. This tower is abandoned or closed down because
No way.
it's in a different, it's just not very touristy area.
Okay. Someone's got to get there. Has Longo done this?
I don't think he
No.
knows.
This is information that we've tried to look around and no one else is.
So it
Putting
says it
this
was built
together.
in like attractive or appealing, but what stood out was how they line up on the sand ridge.
Yes.
And what stands out is usually what is either they're hiding in the middle of the tower or on the top of the tower. What's underneath the tower?
I think they're linking in the old aquifers, just old water towers, and then modern. Wow, that's significant. That's pretty
So
But
significant.
the biggest thing is it's on the beginning and the end point of the ridge, with Bach Tower being right smack in the middle. Seriously, and people are gonna say that's coincidence that there's one at the beginning, there's one at the end, and one right smack in the middle,
Look
which
at
is
that.
Bach
Nice,
Tower,
Jojo.
which is the highest point of the peak, right?
No,
Because
I would say there's something. There's a certainly a correlation. I would think.
there's something going on
Obviously.
here to have them, like you said, lined up in a line across the hill
Oh, you know
ridge,
what? I gotta
and
do.
for you to point out that, some people are saying that it was backfilled to hide what could be underneath. This is a 120-mile long freaking ridge. What are they hiding? I'm just saying, if you want to go that route, that is some serious backfill.
Well, yeah. So
Or
I would.
what's under there.
Yeah, maybe it's not the whole entire sand ridge that was filled, but maybe just these local areas where these towers were popping up, and they just covered out the places where they come up to the surface. And what if it was all sand before that, and they just, whether it's earthworks or ancient native mounds or whatever. Or I know some people would like to say Tartaria. That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah, and like you just pointed out, maybe there was certain hills, right? And they figured, hey, if we put enough there,
That's
it would be
cool.
one big ridge because there's already portions there.
I
That's
think
possible too.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, because I see similar things here in Buffalo. So there was one of my favorite episodes that I did was the Depew episode where I spotted this water tower on one of these old maps from the Library of Congress. Another cool place, libraryofcongress.com, these old panoramic maps. And the Depew one that is on there shows a panoramic view where these tracks go into Buffalo from the Depew side. It's almost like a low angled, so you get a whole breadth view of it. And I shared this on my Depew episode. I highly recommend it. But these tracks is what they put the train tracks on, right? And I think that they used the old canal ways. I think the radios were canals because within one of these track lines is an old water tower. And you could see it on this Library of Congress map for Depew. And right at a crossroads, in fact, not a crossroads, but where a confluence of a couple different tracks, which were the Lehigh Valley train tracks going from Depew into Buffalo. And right smack dab in the middle of one, and these are inset into the ground, almost like they were dug out, but there is a water tower at the confluence of one of them. And I went there, and lo and behold, what's the business that's right next to it is a hydraulics place. So
Yeah.
I think that there's these water underground, or they were at one time, at least here in Buffalo, were radial canals,
Okay.
like way back in the day. Now,
Yeah.
how to round that out into like how it's confused history. The regular history of Buffalo at least says that the street pattern is a grid pattern like normal with the radial pattern laid over it. Again, similar to Washington because the two brothers did it. Ellicott, uh, Joseph Ellicott here in Buffalo and Andrew Ellicott in Washington, D.C. Now, again, the mainstream says that the Ellicott brothers laid the radial pattern over on top of the grid pattern. I argue that the radial pattern was there beforehand, and they just flipped the script and said that we did that. Meanwhile, they probably just put the grid plan over it. They found that these radios were underneath, and they were probably old canals. So I just think when I see a water tower or these towers, and Michelle Gibson has done extensive work on those too. What these old towers were probably are indicative of points where they can tap into those old either radial canals or aquifers of fresh water that were
Yeah,
under the ground.
absolutely. And what we did with the Ybor City, uh, finding that tower there, or so to speak, is that they're multi-purpose towers. Like at some point, like we believe that they use the towers for sighting tunnels, like for actually building and making tunnels. They would use these towers as sight towers, so they would know which direction to go. Kind of like your land surveyor, essentially. And then it was possibly turned into a water tower because, hey, we don't want people to know that it was a survey tower for tunnels, right? So we'll change it into a water tower and act like it was a water tower all along. You know how they change narratives. So,
Indeed. Indeed.
so it's one of those things of going. Towers can really have a multi-purpose functionality to it, and it's almost like, at what time did they use it for? You know?
Yeah, I think some of them also might even be So in the game Assassin's Creed, these towers are actually access points in to get underneath, into the underworld, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's symbolic of going into the underworld. What if all of them aren't water related, or if they're just access points to get under places
Oh,
that have been
look at
buried?
that picture.
That's a good one. That's the Sand Ridge. Yeah, it's a good one,
So you
JJ.
were talking about a
Wow.
dog bone where you could fold something in half to make it like match up to a certain
Yeah,
place.
that's huge too. It goes
Something
across like
going
3
on.
counties.
Yeah,
I thought it was
it's
longer.
massive.
They're talking about that it's only like 100 miles or 115, I guess, at the most, whatever they use it for.
I wonder.
And I even Google mapped if we went to Citrus Tower, which is in the north, to Placid Tower, that's all the way in the south, and they said it's like an hour and a half drive at the
Is
most.
the elevation of the entire length of it higher than all the surrounding Florida?
There's actually, they said like Lake Wales, where Block Tower is supposed to be the highest point in the
Right.
peninsula. There's actually a location up here that is 22 feet higher.
So it represents the highest elevation point among those 3 points, effectively. And you'd wonder, then you'd say that's a safe place to have water or get water, the high point, fresh water.
Because all of the lakes that
surrounded
are,
by literal salt.
these are freshwater lakes in the middle.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And they did say like there's a man-made hill of sorts nearby. I want to say on this side.
Just
Here.
saying.
Because they were mining. They actually said it was a mining. I'm like, but it was such a small paragraph, so I still have to look into finding out what exactly was going on. When you call Lake Wales, where Bok Tower is, Iron Mountain, but you don't talk about mining down there, but you talk about there's a mining something up there. And I was like, oh.
And then you made the association with Iron Mountain up in Michigan.
Yeah, because up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, that's Iron Mountain, where most of the iron ore and copper came from, was up there, and that's towards like the Lake Superior side.
Great. So again, for the critics out there who question why we're questioning history, and we're not saying, JJ is not saying that because there is a Iron Mountain, Michigan, that definitely means that this Iron Mountain, there's got to be mining going on. We're just making an association that we're showing demonstrably that another place in the realm is named that because there is mining going on there. We're not saying that proves that there is mining going on here. You have to make that distinction, and we have an obligation to do that. It's just an association, and it's a rightful one. Okay? We're not saying that proves anything. It is certainly a correlation, though.
Yeah, because I was
worth noting.
Reading online, and then got the brochure when I was just there. I think I was too distracted with the tower and walking around the first hour and a half. And then I get to the museum, and they're not really busy, thankfully. The lady at the desk was talking to me, and I said, so this is on a hill, and she talked through it. And she said it's actually called Iron Mountain, and that's what I was taken back. And I told her, well, there's an Iron Mountain in Michigan, and she was taken back. Going, what? I said it's in the Upper Peninsula, but it's called Iron Mountain. It's a lot taller than 300 feet, and I said it's a mining. I keep wanting to say mining industry, but it's an old mine shafts of digging out all of the iron. And even she was like, she's been working there for years, and she talks to tourist people all the time, coming and going. But she genuinely was like, she didn't know that, and you can
Yeah, I'm
almost see the
gonna.
wheels spinning of wondering if putting the pieces together if there's any correlation
There it
to
is.
whether it's in the soil
There you go.
and there's an energy, or because it's magnetic or something, or if maybe there was at one point they were trying to or did ever mine anything out of the dirt. But she never talked about it if she
Interesting.
knew anything further north.
Interesting, JJ. That's what you get. That's the kind of information that you get, the local information that you get when you get out in the field, right? And you get that local intuition, that local knowledge that
Mhm.
you honestly you can't find on, in text on the
Yeah,
internet.
even though they've been working there for
No.
years, and a lot of times they're just memorizing and reading a script. When they start talking to people coming and going, their wheels, you can tell when their wheels are turning.
Exactly. I love that. You can see their gears turning in their head. Yeah, I
Not
love that.
really contradicting anything, but you're helping them expand off of what they might already know,
Woo, look at
and
that.
then they do their own little research.
And then the memory starts to they start to click and they start remembering memories of stuff. Yeah, it's invaluable.
Just over
Great work.
8,000 feet in elevation.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
8,000 feet above
Oh, for
for
Michigan?
Iron
Well,
Mountain.
hold on. That one's saying Iron Mountain in California though. Iron Mountain, do Iron Mountain,
Oh,
Michigan.
you're right. Why did it do that?
Who wants to get? It's probably close. Maybe not that high. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I probably have to take
Yeah,
it.
that's
Okay.
a little better.
Okay,
I'm like, wow,
On
8,000,
the fly,
that's
man.
way up there.
that's what it's all about.
But that lets you know that there's 3.
True that. Yeah. Right. So then I wonder. Okay, now here we go again. We could layer even more. Is Iron Mountain in California associated with mining as well?
It,
Oh, yeah, we did drive through this part.
Yeah.
We actually, yeah, we went over
We drove
here.
through here. Yeah, we drove
This is
over here.
the, oops,
We did.
the dam. Cowboy Lake, that's right. We went over here, went down
Cowboy
the
Lake.
trail.
That's a great name for a lake.
Cowboy, I know, I was like, what?
In northern Michigan too. You gotta love it.
There's this dam. There's Wisconsin. This was really cool. This is an old building.
Well, check it. You got a golf course top left of that county. So
Oh, over here? Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
This has been, I'm going to say, facaded. But
That's-
the dam looks older than the building, so they either redid the building or
Ski.
Messed
Oh,
around
there
with
it is. There it is.
no, interesting. Wow. So this all tracks back to this guy Bach. He was a Dutch guy, and again, like you were saying too, he wanted to preserve that spot of nature from the encroachment of.
as the saying goes, yeah.
Yep. Very philanthropic of him.
Yeah.
Naturistically speaking.
But I figured what caught my attention with you, Dustin, is the fort episode that you did with your buddy. You know, when you went out in the field and you found the fort, that was amazing, and just your knowledge into the the terraforming and just what I mean, the earth, the different layers. I was like, I think he might really be interested in this whole Bach Tower Ridge thing, and
Oh,
Yes.
definitely. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, another episode I did with Robbie.
yeah, Robbie.
The Two Towers episode comes to mind because he has the local knowledge again. That local knowledge of near Rochester and everything, and these native mounds. There's one I forget the name of the Mount Albion Cemetery. It's from my Two Towers episode with Robbie. We go out to the cemetery, and it's a cemetery that's rural. That's almost the size of the cemetery that we have in the city of Buffalo, Forest Lawn. It's very similar. I've noted that it's like terraced. Again, is it covering up an old native mound? And it's got these towers on top of it. And we went to two different towers, And of course, this stuff gets the gravy flowing, because if anything, it's indicative that there's stuff buried here, whether it's native mounds or giant mounds. Some will say, others will say that it's Tartaria. Just the fact that there's something else going on here is
Yep.
what gets all of our
Something else.
piques our interest and our intrigue.
That's
You know,
like
and
question everything.
Yeah, because the narrative ain't right. What they say, it just
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
mesh. It doesn't flow.
it doesn't mesh. And then again, that's where I can correlate it back to where it's very important about why the Dutch coming in here, and why I showcase the Iroquois, and how am I getting back through history by incorporating the Iroquois. Now, this area is heavily influenced by Native history and culture and everything, so you got to go through that. But the Dutch are factored in because they bought the land from the Iroquois. And not only did they buy the land from the Iroquois in the very important for history Phelps-Gorham Purchase, even though they defaulted on their payments, effectively what that did was relinquish. It's a very important purchase from this Dutch syndicate of like 13 investors who purchased it from the Iroquois Confederacy for pennies, man, like $12,000, I think, right? And they defaulted in their payments literally back then. It was like 10 years after the Revolutionary War. So 1786, Phelps-Gorham Purchase, right?
Yeah.
Purchased the land from the Confederacy of the Iroquois for shorts. But it's very important to know this, because what it did was relinquish the Iroquois' natural Aboriginal rights. And it's very hard to do that. They signed and they're not holding back on that. And that's why the Seneca and the Five Nations here they're still going at it right now. And there's certain people that old money here in the Western New York that probably don't want somebody like me sniffing this stuff out.
Yeah,
And I'm not joking here. I'm not trying to like boast or anything or even be antagonistic. But that's historically citable and empirical evidence that it did it's very hard to relinquish an Aboriginal tribes, Aboriginal rights, and this one did. So, and the fact that it was defaulted on the payments, and then some other company purchased it, I forget who, another Baron company family. It almost is like, was that done purposely to literally relinquish their rights? So, this is what I'm getting into.
It sure sounds like it.
It does sound like it.
Yeah.
I got more to unpack though, and I'm not being accusatory towards the Dutch or the.
Well, sometimes it almost sounds like a game for them to constantly switch hands.
They certainly set up the circumstances to where they could purchase it within their scaffolding, because it's hard to purchase land from natives where they're just like, we're over here because the buffalo are here.
Everything is sacred for them.
And it's like, well, this is our land now, our plantation, but the natives don't understand that. They're like, we're going here because the buffalo go here. Or if, so it's hard to.
Their backs would have to be up against the wall to sell or relinquish
for that type of money. I could be wrong, but the top of my head, it's the whole western door from Genesee River west for like $13,000 so back then.
I still get a lot of information that I've seen in movies from Alaska Mohicans or Dancing with the Wolves or those Hollywood narratives that sneak.
How dare you, JJ? How dare you watch Hollywoodland?
I know. Shit. Shame on me. I went and saw the new Little Mermaid, so.
Look, I mean, I have.
You go sit in a corner.
I have Cornelius here from Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
From my father-in-law. Rest in peace. I got that from as a hand-me-down, and Donnie Darko picture or stuff back there. So obviously, I'll let you guys know.
I don't need to see that.
my daughter doesn't like it at all either. She doesn't like the Donnie Darko bunny.
I can't stand looking at that thing. I'm like, nope, no thank you. The only time I actually kind of watched it more so is Jay Dreamers broke the movie down.
Did he? I thought that was pretty dope.
Oh yeah, he's really good at that. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, he is.
And he references anything that has to reference anything else. So some people, when they do research, they won't get into even just the Bible. But he's like, no, if the Bible talks about it, I'm going to talk about it. If any other books, chronicles, whatever's out there, he talks about it. And it's really cool to listen to people who talk like that. who can not cut anything out, but say, hey, there's a connection here. Let's see what else is going on.
I got a Quran right over there too. I just held up the Bible, and I also have a Quran. So
Yeah. 'Cause, what was I listening to? The One-on-One podcast. And he's good friends, I would say good friends with Longo and a guy named, I'm still getting familiar with this other group, it seems, with Mario, and who does a lot of symbolic studies and references. And I'm just like feeling like my brain just
oh, did you say one-on-one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one-on.
Oh, okay. Longo's buddy. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And they were also talking about, Juan and Longo met up and they were exploring some mounds on the east coast of Florida near Longo.
Yeah,
I want to say near Miami.
it was
They
Gabriel
were just,
Coral.
was it
Is what they
Wednesday?
called it.
I think it was Wednesday. And then I think even, I call him analog still, but the archivist.
Okay, nice. Nice.
He's got the archivist of old
Yeah,
newspaper
Ben's
clippings.
awesome.
He's got that's
And
it's unbelievable.
I think he was talking about the mounds also with Longo and Juan, and they kind of just this group, this extra group, I want to call it, that a viewer reached out to me and Joe like 2 months ago or so, and she's like, hey, if this group of researchers is treating you like dirt, come over here and see if you vibe and can learn and then expand. And I've been enjoying it a lot, with what they have to talk about, especially in a more, I would say, clean mind sense of with Dr. Longo and Juan and how they talk and how they have panels and just
Very good.
collaborate together.
He takes them the inbound calls and everything. You know what's funny? Actually, one of the older dudes around in this area who gifted me one of my books that I use, Echoes of Niagara Falls. He owns a used book company here in Buffalo, and he interested through my research and everything, and we communicated and have met up before. But he's semi-retired from his book business, right? So he goes around. He's got family and kids in California. Yada yada. He's a legend. Shout out to John. We got to talk soon. But he drove down to Florida and he went into Longo's shop and met up with him.
Oh, cool.
Said
Nice.
super cool, nice shop. Yeah, so it's like one of the old school cats in Buffalo. Again, he has a used book store, and I got to get up with him because he's got a lot to offer. He said he's got he calls them gravy because of my my terminology that he just sets aside. And I've been meaning to get back up in touch with him to go over them. And he's like, you could have them if you want. And the book that he gave me, The Echoes in the Mist, Niagara Falls, is where I got that one key term of the Vauban forts and star forts, whatever, why I've leveled hard on that by using those terms. But yeah. So he met Longo, and shout out to Longo. And then John Horan, a good fan of mine, been a fan for a while. So that was really cool. I thought it's like, I wouldn't necessarily say networking, but good people are good people.
Yeah.
You know,
You were always using the word indicative, and it took me a while, but I had to look it up because I had never heard it, and you use it a lot, and I'm like, why does he keep saying that? What does
I repeat words a lot too. I get
funny. It's still funny. Like, it took me a while to look into it. I'm like, oh, okay, but I like the ladling the gravy, more of like the slang term.
Yeah.
And then
I fancy myself a little bit of a wordsmith, so you might be words that sound cool and that have cool meanings and stuff.
Yeah, because I forget what I guess you were doing Premiere, and you kept saying sleuthin', and one of the viewers was like, "What is that?" I could just feel the energy in her. And she's from California. She's from California because I recognized her. She's like, "What is sleuthin'?" What?
It's kind of like a play on words, though, too, because the group of bears is known as a sleuth.
Is
right?
it?
Yes. So
That's
a group
funny.
of bears is a sleuth of bears, and then to sleuth something is to investigate a crime. So I'm kind of like, it's almost like a double entendre.
Yeah.
The sleuth in history but we're also a group of, obviously with the Bears and Beartaria. Shout out to Big Bear, Owen Benjamin, comedian. But yeah, so that's why, as a matter of fact, I shared a recent conversation I had with one of the Bears in Beartaria, and I said in my community post, if you ever wonder why my name is Berserker Bear or where I got that moniker, and I'm always saying sleuthin', that's, I'm affiliated with Beartaria. And I mean, not when I say affiliated, I'm a fan of
Right.
Owen
Yeah.
Benjamin. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I was verified a
Yeah,
very long time
through-
ago in one of his live chats. So yeah,
It was funny because through Bernie Crypto Alchemist, I got
Bernie means bear too. Bernie's name is Bear.
the connection with. He's
Oh,
also
wow.
friends with Juan, and then Owen popped up, and there's more groups that through one to another that of just expanding
Yeah, that's
on
why it's cool. That's
a
why I
lot of
shouted out.
people hopping on YouTube and connecting with each other. And I'm sitting here, I'm just vibing, listening to everybody. And I'm like, it's really good when that energy flows and they collaborate and they talk. And it's sitting there going, oh, they know
Yeah.
so and so. Oh, and they know so and so. Oh, this is cool. They know so and so. So I'm sitting
Yeah,
there going,
exactly. It's like you get that communal feel, right? And
yes, it's
Yeah,
really good.
there's different communities everywhere, and if you like you pointed out, even if you don't resonate with, you know, one or two in particular, well, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 all pretty much get along, right? So,
Yeah.
and and it's really cool because mostly the same people that you see in one, you see in the others, right? So even though this person might go live, say once every 2 weeks, you still got this one and this one and this one, right? And all the viewers, they all kind of gravitate, toward the same community, so to speak. So
Yep.
you're constantly around the same people throughout the week, be it this person or this person or this person, going live. So it's really
Cool.
neat
It is
to
cool.
see that community of viewers, constantly on so many different
Support
channels, supporting each
collaborate.
other and the channel creators. And then of course you got the channel creators, like J Dreamers, Ben, Analog, the Archivist, One on One. Now, are they all technically, interconnected? Who knows? In all reality, but I can
Who cares?
could definitely say that the viewers are interconnected between them. You know what I mean?
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even still, if they're doing good work and that's what their hobby is, and they're sharing and disseminating information that's not readily out there, or at least causing you to think differently and see things from a different angle.
Exactly.
Keep it moving. Glass half
that's the
full, ladle
nice
half
thing.
full.
That's something that I feel a lot of, because we're viewers too, right? And that's something that a lot of viewers, I want to say, gravitate toward. J Dreamers, One on One, Ben the Archivist now, and some of these other channel creators, even yourself, Berserker Bear, is you guys bring out all this research, ladle in that gravy, right, without being antagonistic. You see, because creators can just put forth research in a broad opening mind spectrum of asking questions and just being open-minded with it, going, hey, I see this, what do you see? You see, there's no antagonistic, there's none of that going on.
Well,
It's an open-minded, let's
Some people
give and
don't like
receive,
too many
give and
questions,
receive.
even in the
And-
research community.
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, you
"Too
guys
many
are also
questions."
creators. You guys are content creators. You guys do a good job with your videos also.
Thanks. I want to say, still more focused on being, or not more focused, but we just kind of go into still feeling like a viewer that's gathering information. And then if we're in someone else's chat that normally doesn't talk about it, but they're starting to talk about a topic, and we're like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of so and so's channel. We don't have to have a mod or a wrench to be like, hey, is it okay if I talk about so and so because you're talking about a similar topic?
Yeah, it's
And
funny.
then
Yes.
through the viewers of connecting to other viewers, and if the channel creator is okay with it, and trying to ask and say, hey, are you okay with this information from so and so's
You
channel?
guys are so polite. You know, this is the thing. Like you guys are so polite, and it's like I'm happy to be a part of it. You know, I am a creator, content creator, but I'm just happy to be a part of it. You know,
Yeah,
like grateful of it, and not to diminish it in any
Yeah.
way. Of
the
whatever me,
integrity,
yeah,
dignity,
happy that I can
honorable.
make videos that I share my hobby, and if even one person watches, I'm like ecstatic, literally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
Well,
this is over the top.
I think about the
every
channels
e-
that have been
e-
around for a long time. We go back 13 years when they started questioning what's the shape of our realm. It was like few people watching, but it was the slowest snowball effect that took place to where people sitting here now questioning so much more than just the shape of the realm that we could be living in and the reality that we live in and the buildings around us. It's just expanded. It just go boom. Go
yeah,
ahead, babe.
that's something that I've definitely on the politeness part, that's something that I've always tried to ascertain myself to with every channel creator that I'm possibly a mod with. I make sure that I'm in contact with the channel creators, every single one of them, because I want to make sure that I'm doing what they want on their channel the way they want it done. I don't want to cross any borders. I don't want to, cross any boundaries with each channel creator because they're all different, right? One's okay with it, but one's not. So I got my own little checklist of, okay, when I go on this channel creator and I'm a mod, I make sure I do it the way they want, as opposed to them. And like you pointed out, it's just that whole respect received, respect given, you know and that's what it's all about, to me anyway. It's keeping that integrity, honor, and because to me that means more than anything, absolutely anything, because it doesn't matter to me to an extent the research that's put forth, or anything like that, because if the channel creator gives off a certain vibe, it's it's to me it's put offish,
It
because
turns
You're
me
not going to
there's no
listen
respect.
to
Yeah,
what they
there's
have
no
to say.
respect given.
it
So
turns
why
me
would
away.
I can't respect you if you can't even reason, you know what I
You're
mean,
not even going
point
to
out
get to the
that.
content if the character isn't.
Yeah,
That,
their energy, their
Exactly.
attitude comes. There's some channels out there. They want to seem passionate and excited, but they come across as pushy and hostile, and I can pick up on that a lot more. And sometimes I fight myself with just trying to listen to see if they can express themselves because
Yeah.
they're passionate, they're excited, but then there's a little more aggression behind it of not just
Oh,
determined to find some
okay.
truth, but to push it out
because,
people. And I'm like,
because JJ brought up the aggression, it's to me. I'm gonna bring it up because it's funny. Okay, there are a few times when J Dreamers will have one of his episodes, I guess, of just going, "Oh
omens,
my God, this world," and but he's venting
his
but to
omens
me, it's
episodes.
in a very healthy way, and everyone can see that.
It's
You know
human,
what I mean?
relatable. Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's a
genuine. You
very
can pick up that
Yeah.
it's
yes.
genuine also. Yeah.
But
I
and
know what you're
again,
talking about, by the way, too. I
yeah,
think it's funny.
the reason why it's funny is because it's truth.
Yeah.
It's that
It's
healthy
so
venting of
relatable.
going, hey man, Jay just needs to vent and just share.
Yeah, and
Cool,
it's
do
cool
it.
because it
Cool.
provides like a comic relief almost, and that's the humor is always good as a release valve,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
dissolve that pent up aggression or whatever. And again, that's why I say, Big Bear and the Bears. I mean, he's a comedian. He does take a lot of heat, but he
Yeah.
relieves a lot of pressure in this pent up Babylon of society right now.
Yeah.
And people are real
Yeah.
hyper defensive, and I get it. And we're in some type of awakening and apocalypse, if you want to call it that. humor has a good way of deflating the pent up pressure from certain things, and you said it's more funny when it echoes a certain truth, right? I mean,
Exactly. And
I'm with
there's been
that.
so many times when Jay would like apologize. He's like, "I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to vent like that." And it's like, no, seriously, do it because at least you're venting in a
Yeah.
healthy, mature manner. You're putting forth it in a very, you know, I'd call it a positive venting as opposed to other individuals when they're venting. That's
Take
not
it out on
venting.
others.
The way you're doing it, that's not venting. That's
When you
actually
take it
being
out on others,
aggressive
when
and
you,
antagonistic. That's
yeah,
different.
To
venting,
use J-
releasing.
to use Jay's example too, it does serve as a dual purpose because if somebody does get bent out of shape for that, wouldn't even call it criticism or whatever. You don't want them to be part of your community anyway. It's almost like a certain
Right.
weeding out, or not even hazing, but like, just like dudes ball bust. If somebody can't take it, you know that you don't want to have them line up next to you in a phalanx. Okay, when shit hits the fan, if you can't take this little ball busting, I don't want you around, type of deal.
Yeah.
So when Jay's doing that, and if his view or whatever, people who are watching him take that as an affront, well, then maybe they probably shouldn't be there because he's harmless with it. And Jay's he's got a really big channel, and you could tell that he puts a lot of passion into it, spends a lot of
Yes.
time on it.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
respect
He's
that.
been around
Enormous amount of time.
He's been
Yeah.
around for at least 4 years, but I found him like last
So
fall.
he's earned his corner to say that, with his
Oh,
viewers and stuff. So yeah, and if someone I would say for fans, Jay Dreamer's a solid worker, and you could tell that he likes what he does. But if
Oh, yeah.
people take
That's one of
affront
the
to that,
reasons why
who wants
I
him
like
around anyway?
listening to him. And I've
Yeah.
stuck around.
But like you said, that makes it makes you respect people like Jay more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
what's on his mind.
that to me earns respect.
And talks about personal growth, not just research growth. Personal growth.
Yes.
Because I believe he's like our age. He's like around 40 or older 30s. And when you hit those milestones in the later years of life, if you're not capable of growing personally, is it humility? Not humiliation, but humility, the humbleness at times of reflecting in life and growing and just connecting with other people. Even when you get screwed over by one, it makes you not want to try and connect in even just a lightly kind of swimming out in the little kitty water of trying to trust people again, because one person can really damage you to try and trust other people.
True.
And I'm sitting here going, the last 7 months for myself, I have decided to recalibrate the way that I've always dealt with when people hurt me or mistreat me, and I lose that trust in humanity when only one person did it to me. I'm like, I've learned so much more in the last 2 months because a viewer reached out and said, "Hey, why don't you hang out over here at these channels?" And it helped me see it through other channels and other viewers to say, like, hey, not everybody's that way. And I needed to feel that energy and I needed to be around it. I sat back and I lurked most of the time. I was lurking. I was like, wow, this is really nice to find, like you said, if you can't take some of those like manly terms of ball bashing. Is that what you said?
Ball
It's like
busting,
ball
or
busting.
Ball busting,
Yeah,
ball
ball
bashing.
busting.
or you can say busting chops.
Because even for like women don't really have that. They get petty, they get catty, but we don't really have those terms. We don't really know how to take a joke and not be so sensitive and offensive to it. To say, I guess more so personally, just going, I'm gonna have to roll with it more because I like to joke that way too, but I've never been around people that could handle the joke. Been around, I'll say more women. Men can handle it. I can handle it, but when you're around certain women, I don't know why they get so offensive. And I'm just like, I don't know I'm like,
That's the divide, you know. Yeah, women
Yeah.
are emotional, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the difference of the
Yeah.
human
I'm emotional and
nature.
sensitive, but it's when it comes to caring and nurturing for life. But then the humor comes out where I'm like, I need to vent too. I need to joke. I need to say something vulgar sometimes.
Yeah, it's good. Nothing dispels some angst like the hard, you know, what the f. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more than just saying it when I stub my toe or trip or drop the pickle jar and say, what the F? And I'm like, no, there's more to it than just those little moments. Because even in
That's
society,
funny.
of seeing the last couple of years of Karen mentality,
Oh my
just,
goodness.
oh,
That's why
um,
I call it Babylon, JJ. They're babbling on. You know, it's like
Yeah.
we got to bob and you got to bob
Yeah,
and
they are
weave it.
just they are
yeah.
babbling on. Yeah, you got it.
But might have to wrap it up.
Hey ho, Silver! Away!
Quick, change the channel. Hold up. Hey. This must never be seen by anyone.
Here goes. I sped. I followed too closely. I ran a stop sign. I almost hit a Chevy. I sped some more. I failed to yield at a crosswalk. I changed lanes in the intersection. I changed lanes without signaling while running a red light and speeding.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me. He's me. And I'm you.
Names. You, me, everybody!
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.